Today, in this video, I'm going to share with you the secret to understanding Scottish speakers. If you're ready, keep watching. Hi, I'm Gemma from the Scottish Sound School. I'm an English language teacher and pronunciation specialist. I work with teachers and new international arrivals in Scotland, helping them to make sense of the unfamiliar sounds and speech they are hearing. I'm going to begin this video by telling you a story. At first, this may not seem very closely related to me telling you the secret to understanding Scottish speakers, but have patience because all will be revealed. Last year, I attended a teaching conference in Belfast, Northern Ireland. Travelling to Northern Ireland from Scotland is very easy. It's close, affordable, and has several different transport options to take you there. I chose to take an inclusive bus and ferry combination. I got on a bus in Glasgow, it travelled down to the ferry port, drove onto the ferry, and then on arrival drove off, directly dropping me in the centre of Belfast. When we drove onto the ferry, the driver, who had a Northern Irish accent, told us to go upstairs into the passenger areas, as well as telling us specifically how to get back to the bus. Follow the red stairs, he said. As I got off the bus, I struck up a conversation with the lady who'd been sitting in front of me and who was from Canada. I must remember to look for the red stars, she said. I don't want to get lost and miss the bus. But I can't see any stars. Can you? I let her know that what the driver actually said was not stars, but stairs, and using his local Northern Irish pronunciation, stairs. She was surprised. How do you know that? She asked me. Well, I replied, I'm just used to it. I'm used to Northern Irish English. Throughout the conference that week, I found myself in similar situations. I'd go to get coffee or a sandwich with colleagues from other parts of the world, both native and non-native speakers, and often act as translator for them when they weren't sure what was being said to them. Every time my colleagues asked me how I understood, I had the same answer for them. I'm just used to it. But how did I become used to Northern Irish English? Why is it easy for me to understand? Well, there are 4 reasons. 1. Over the years, I have lived with several Northern Irish flatmates, and through our discussions, grew accustomed to their pronunciation, vocabulary, and expressions. 2. I have lived and worked in Ireland for a little while, though admittedly this was not Northern Ireland, but I had colleagues and friends from there. 3. I love Northern Irish comedy, such as Derry Girls, and other Northern Irish comedians such as Serena Terry. And the final reason, number 4. Scotland and Northern Ireland have some shared linguistic history, which make it more familiar to Scottish speakers. In the 17th century, during the Plantation of Ulster, this part of Ireland was colonised by the British, and Protestant Scots from Lowland and Central Scotland were encouraged to move there, taking land and belongings from the local Gaelic-speaking Catholics. The Scots language accompanied these settlers and evolved into Ulster Scots, meaning some similar words and expressions exist today in both countries. What does my story about my trip to Northern Ireland have to do with this channel and the key or secret to understanding Scottish speakers? The reason is simple. In Scotland, just like my trip in Northern Ireland, people say to me all the time that local speakers are impossible to understand, and the accent is so thick. But they forget that with time and exposure, and a little bit of effort, they too can become familiar with this accent and this variety. When they become familiar, they will understand more easily. Indeed, many of my students who have been here for several years tell me that this has happened to them. Over time, they have become accustomed to the words and sounds and expressions of local people, and now they don't worry about not understanding. So this is the secret to understanding the Scottish speakers you may find yourself living, studying, or working alongside. You need to make the effort to become familiar with their pronunciations, vocabulary, and expressions. The more familiar you become, the easier it will be. Luckily, today it is easier than ever before to become accustomed to Scottish English. It can be found throughout the media, on podcasts, on radio stations, on television programmes, in movies, all over YouTube and more. Have you picked up any new and interesting expressions during your time in Scotland? Or perhaps you're slowly starting to notice yourself becoming more familiar with those around you. Why not share your story in the comments? If you found this video useful or interesting, please like and subscribe to receive notifications when new content is released.